What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mixed Nut channel. Thank you so much for joining me once again. And today is going to be something a little different than just audio. Tonight on SmackDown, the first SmackDown live show since they're switched to Tuesday, we are going to have the WWE Draft. And this is something I've been excited for. I've been really hoping for a WWE Draft since the brand extension left. It would give a lot of stars a different time to shine. So I want to see how I would book a fantasy roster. So on the WWE.com page, there is a fantasy draft option. And I'm going to be going on here and assembling my own roster based on who shows up here. And you guys will tell me what you think. Do you like the roster that I pick, or what would you do different? So let's start out with the company man, the man that runs the place, John Cena. I'm going to throw him on SmackDown to kind of get that face value to solidify SmackDown as a top competitor. And I'm going to get AJ Styles on SmackDown as well. And then for the trio of Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns, I'm throwing them on Raw because that just makes sense that they would be a head of Raw on the show that has the most time. They seem like they're future stars that people can invest on, and the reason I put AJ Styles on SmackDown is to continue that feud with John Cena, but hopefully this will give AJ Styles a huge chance to shine in the WWE roster. Brock Lesnar is a weird case. I feel like he should really be able to show up on both, but as of right now, I'm going to put him on Raw because I think he really deserves it. The New Day, I think they should be one of the champions that's headed up on SmackDown, but the title should float between the two. Miz and Maurice, because it's the Intercontinental Championship, and I really like how the WWE was set up way back. I think the Intercontinental Championship should be on Raw and exclusive to Raw. Randy Orton, let's throw him on SmackDown so that way we get that face value. As well as that, let's throw Charlotte. And then the picture's taking forever to load. But I'm going to throw Charlotte on SmackDown as well. Because that way it would solidify SmackDown as a dominant brand to show that. But I really think they're going to have the women's division either float between both shows, or they're going to have it exclusive to either SmackDown or Raw. They shouldn't book two different women's division. I really think if they did a women's division, is either going to be floating between the two or exclusive to one roster. So now we're tied up at 5-5 apiece. Let's go Sasha Banks. Let's have her on Raw so that way if the title floats, it'll be between both. Kevin Owens, I really think he's a world title contender, but I really think he would probably do better on SmackDown. And Sami Zayn, I put him on Raw to be away from Kevin Owens, so that way when they ever fight again on one of the big four pay-per-views like SummerSlam, or Survivor Series, WrestleMania, or Royal Rumble, if they ever did decide to fight again for some reason, probably at WrestleMania, it feels better because you're not seeing them fight every week. Rusev and Lana, because of the United States Championship, I'm going to throw him over on SmackDown. Cesaro. For Cesaro, I think he'll be a really good Intercontinental contender, so I'm going to throw him on Raw. And Enzo and Cass, I'll put them on Raw as well, so that way it, just like for the women's belt with Charlotte and Sasha, it can float over between both shows, because I really think Enzo and Cass should be tag champions at some point. Big Show, I'll throw him on Raw, really as enhancement talent, and Kane will go to SmackDown. Both of them will probably be enhancement talent. And as for Chris Jericho, I really can see him in a good rivalry to put up somebody either like Cesaro or somebody of the new NXT guys, and I'll put him on SmackDown for now. Becky Lynch, let's toss her on SmackDown. And Paige will go on Raw. I really think those four who are on the main roster now are really good. I'm super excited for what Bayley comes up. The Usos, who are paired together for this, let's put them on I have to think about these guys because they're with Reigns. And if Roman Reigns turns heel, I don't know how well they're going to suit with the Usos turning heel, because they were heel when they started, but they're kind of like bland baby faces now. So let's do Raw for now. Sheamus, we'll put him over on SmackDown. I could really see eventually a Sheamus-Rusev feud. I think that'll be alright at best. Alberto Del Rio. I think you could rekindle his main event status maybe on SmackDown. Bray Wyatt, and we'll have him and his Wyatt family end up on Raw. So I'll send over Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, and maybe Luke Harper if he ends up being on this list. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Now, if I wanted to continue the AJ Styles with the club story, I would throw him on SmackDown. But because I really want to see Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson with Finn Balor, and I want to see that feud between AJ and Finn over the club, I am going to throw them on Raw so the club splits up. Apollo Crews, again, he'll have a better opinion on SmackDown. I don't know why my picture's not switching over. Alicia Fox, let's throw her on SmackDown. Why not? Some of these guys I just don't really care where they go. The Ascension, because SmackDown's losing some bodies here. But then again, Raw is a 3-hour show. Baron Corbin, again, I think he'll be fantastic on SmackDown. Breezango, let's throw him on SmackDown as well. Dana Brooke. Let's see, we're lacking women on Raw, Yeah, we're lacking women on Raw, so we'll throw her on Raw apart from Charlotte. See what Charlotte can do on her own. Darren Young, I think with Bob Backlund in his corner, probably. We'll put him in, considering he's in the Intercontinental title scene, we'll put him on Raw as well. And again, Raw might have more competitors considering it's a 3-hour show versus 2-hour show. I'm trying to fit in the content somewhat of the rules, but this is just a overall draft roster pick. I'm going to choose Dolph Ziggler to go on SmackDown, because maybe in 2-hour time frame, I hate saying this, but we might see less of Ziggler, because Ziggler has been on top of wrestling a bunch of different shows. The Dudley Boys, I really think within this confines they should be to Raw, because I really think they can enhance a lot of the talent, especially considering if they have like feuds with some of the lesser tag teams or some of the other tag teams to try to get them put over. Eva Marie, I could really care less I couldn't care less where she went. I hate when people do that. I couldn't care less where Eva Marie goes, so I'm just going to send her over to SmackDown. The Golden Truth, again, it's one of those mid-card thing. Let's send them over to SmackDown. Jack Swagger, because there's 3 hours of time to fill, I'll put him on Raw. Yeah, I'll put him on Raw. Kalisto. Now, this is important starting now because the WWE announced on Raw last night that a cruiserweight division is going to happen on Raw. Let me see if there's anything I should switch over due to cruiserweight division from now. No? Okay, so Kalisto will probably be one of the heads of the cruiserweight division, and I could see him going on Raw and taking over Mark Henry. I really think he can get one more high-profile feud. That would have to be either against Baron Corbin or Apollo Crews on SmackDown. I could see it. Naomi, let's send her over to Raw, and Natalya to SmackDown. We'll try to branch out the Divas a little bit. Neville, again, due to the whole cruiserweight thing, I could see him on Raw. Sin Cara, let's keep him separate from Kalisto and try to get him into a United States title feud. Let's go him on SmackDown. Summer Rae. See, Summer Rae, she could probably have a good, not really good, but a feud with Alicia Fox. So let's send her on SmackDown. And Titus O'Neil, he's been chasing the United States title lately, so I'll send him to SmackDown as well. Zack Ryder, we will send him over to, considering he's been fighting for the United States title, we'll send him over to SmackDown. We'll see if he can try it. The Shining Stars, Primo and Epico, we'll send them over to Raw. And we have 2 more picks. The Social Outcast, the unit of 3. Send them over to Raw because I want to see Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt have a thing because of real life family. And then the Vaudevillains, see where I'm at on roster space. I'll put them over on SmackDown. The rosters are basically even. Alright, so to recap, we have on SmackDown, we have John Cena, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, The New Day, Kevin Owens, Charlotte, Rusev and Lana and Kane, Chris Jericho and Becky Lynch, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, Apollo Crews, Alicia Fox, Breezango, I call him Febreze, Baron Corbin, Eva Marie, Dolph Ziggler, Mark Henry, Golden Truth, Natalya, Sin Cara, Summer Rae, Titus O'Neil, Zack Ryder, and the Vaudevillains. And over on Raw, we have Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Lesnar. Those guys are going to be the key four, again, of the main event scene, whether anybody really likes that on Raw's part or not. Miz and Marie, Sasha Banks, Sami Zayn and Cesaro. I would love to see more matches between these two. They're great, but just not every single week. I would love to see a feud again between them. Enzo and Cass, Big Show. Paige, The Usos, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, and Eric Rowan. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, keep them away from AJ Styles. The Ascension, Dana Brooke. Darren Young, The Dudley Boys, Jack Swagger, Kalisto, Naomi, Neville, Shining Stars, and the Social Outcasts. Now, to add to this, WWE also announced that 6 picks are coming from the NXT roster, but you don't know any of them. So here's how I'm going to do it. On SmackDown, the picks are going to be American Alpha. I can see them in a really good feud with the New Day, and I would probably kick up SmackDown again as one of the top brands because we want to revitalize SmackDown here. I also will put Bayley on SmackDown just to have this rivalry with Charlotte and the Divas. Actually, you know what? Let me change that. I would have Bayley on Raw because there's 2 of the 4 horsewomen on SmackDown, and I think there should be 2 on Raw, and Sasha Banks and Bayley could make magic in a number 1 contenders match for the Women's Championship. So American Alpha on SmackDown and Bayley on Raw. I love how I just changed my opinion there. I have Finn Balor debut on Raw and get real cozy with these guys here. Real cozy with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson because I really think they could do something real good with the Balor Club, or just call it the Club still. And Shinsuke Nakamura, I think he'll be a huge change to the main event scene on Raw. And I would love to see a match between him and Lesnar. Who would not love to see that match? As for the other 2, they're probably going to go to SmackDown. And the picks that I have going to SmackDown, I already said American Alpha. I'd say probably say of all of them, I said Nia Jax is going to go to SmackDown and tear up the women's divisions. You could probably have she could either rekindle her thing with Eva Marie to where they're somewhat of a team, but I wouldn't like that. And she could also destroy some of the divas like Summer Rae, Eva Marie especially, or Alicia Fox. She can just absolutely destroy them. And then the last one that I would have is a surprising pick for SmackDown is Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger and his Perfect 10 gimmick, I really think could either be a really good enhancement talent, like he has been on NXT, or he could be a really good solid mid-carder and have feuds with like Chris Jericho and Del Rio and Apollo Crews. I really think that he could be a good mid-card talent. So again, on SmackDown, it would be the American Alpha, Nia Jax, and Ty Dillinger, and on Raw, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Bayley. It's really seeming like through this thing, Raw's going to be like a better show, but it doesn't mean SmackDown's going to be terrible. In addition, I also love the fact that they don't mention any potential outside draft picks that there could be of returning stars, because you know that WWE has been talking to former stars and seeing if they would love to be a part of the draft, and for those, I would specifically say that if I don't care where either of these returning stars, but except for one, I want Kurt Angle to be on SmackDown. Reason being, I want American Alpha there, see if anything goes with that. But I also can think that he could put on spectacular matches with the likes of Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, rekindling their thing from TNA, even though WWE won't mention that. Or any of these guys here could put on a fantastic showing against Kurt Angle. Even if he wrestles part-time, having a couple prime-time feuds with some of the younger guys, Kurt Angle's my guy, who I think is going to be a surprise draft pick for SmackDown. And so that is my overlook on the roster. If you guys like it, make sure to leave a comment. If you don't like it, make sure you leave a comment or like or dislike this video, depending. And tell me what you think. How do you think the draft is going to go? And who do you think is going to have the better show, Raw or SmackDown? Make sure to hit the subscribe button, like or dislike the video, depending on how I sound. And make sure you go to the website fantasy-draft.wwe.com to create your own fantasy roster and tell me what you think. Alright, and this has been the Mixed Nuts channel, and I will see you all next time.